Toss aside the touchy-feely notions of love in business and recognize the real power it holds. Welcome to the Love is Just Damn Good Business podcast with host Steve Farber. Drawing on his work with a wide variety of companies from the Fortune 100 to smaller family-owned businesses, Farber shares inspiring interviews with business leaders and proven strategies for how you can create experiences that your customers will love by developing a culture that your employees, teammates, and colleagues love working in. Discover why and how love, at the end of the day, is just damn good business for you too. Here's your host, Steve Farber.
Hello and welcome to episode number 6 of the Love is Just Damn Good Business podcast. I am your host, Steve Farber. My guest today is Elay Cohen, who's the founder and CEO of a company called SalesHood. Now, this interview that you're about to hear is another that's similar to episode number 4, where I interviewed Ivan Meisner from BNI. This was another interview that I did in research for the book, Love is Just Damn Good Business. I was introduced to Elay and SalesHood through my friend Burton Goldfield, who's the CEO and president, or president and CEO, as we more commonly say, of a company called TriNet, which is a $4 billion publicly traded company. They have thousands of small to mid-sized clients. And I asked Burton, because he's really passionate about his clients, I asked him which of the TriNet clients does he think I should talk to for the research in my book? Because, I'm looking for companies that are congruent with the message that I'm laying down. And Elay Cohen was the first person that came to mind with his company, SalesHood. So what you're about to hear is the interview that I conducted with Elay in the research for the book. And you know what? It also makes for a wonderful podcast episode. He's a lively and engaging guy. I'll tell you just a little bit about Elay. He is the author of 2 books, Enablement Mastery and SalesHood. He is a recognized top innovative mover and shaker in the sales leadership world by Entrepreneur Magazine. And he's recognized by LinkedIn as one of the world's top sales experts. When he was in the role of Senior Vice President of Sales Productivity at Salesforce, he was recognized as Salesforce's 2011 Executive of the Year by Mark Benioff. Elay is on a mission to improve and modernize how companies enable their people, working closely with the world's most innovative companies and most forward-thinking educational institutions. And you're about to hear all about that. Elay is passionate about changing the future of work, which makes him my de facto soul brother. So please enjoy this conversation with Elay Cohen. So I'd like you to start with just the high-level overview. So you're telling just, the average person on the street what the story of SalesHood is and your involvement in it and all that, however you would tell that story. And then I'll ask you a few questions where we'll dig a little bit deeper. I'd like to know more about kind of your, the word that gets thrown around a lot of it nowadays, your culture, your the relationships that you're trying to set, your kind of philosophy. Keep in mind that the title of the book is Love is Just Damn Good Business. That doesn't mean that I'm looking for you to change your story or the way you talk about things any differently. But what I am, ultimately trying to illustrate is that, that personal connection, that human element of business is so critical to a business's success. So that's the context for it. So let's just start with kind of the overview of the high-level story.
Sure thing. So thank you. I founded SalesHood in 2013, early 2013, so 5.5 years. And, our vision is to help salespeople, help sales teams be the best they can be. And I worked at Salesforce.com for about 8 years during the hypergrowth years, from about 300 million to 3 billion. And, I was responsible for enablement, sales enablement. I was, senior vice president of enablement. And I was recognized many times during my career for, helping our teams be successful. And so I was responsible for all the training and the onboarding and the coaching and, added a lot of value to the business and grew the business. was responsible for, I used to call it hire to Hawaii, the moment that we would hire, a salesperson to the moment they're in Hawaii celebrating their success. Like I was responsible for them. I took care of them, and I had to coach them and train them, and we had to enable them. We had to help them win deals. We had to help them, close proposals. And so, very, 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 a giver in that sense. And, I remember 18 months into my career at Salesforce, I started in products, launched an amazing product, and, Mark Benioff puts me on stage, and we're going to recognize Eli, best product launch ever, and think about it. It's 2006, and I'm being recognized by CEO of Salesforce, and for an amazing product launch. And he said why we're recognizing him is because he rolls up his sleeves and he does the coaching in the regions. He works with our sales teams. You'd think that he knows every single person in the company because everybody talks about him because he just helps people be successful. And we're going to promote him from a director of products into vice president of sales enablement, and we're going to have him amplify the work that he does on the one product to amplify it across the whole company. And I remember on stage, I was like, I don't want that. And I didn't want to be that person responsible for kickoffs or boot camps. And it's like, no, you're going to love it. And so it was a great decision that was made for me. And so I grew the team from like me and 5 or 6 people to 120 people. Anything that I wanted to do, Mark invested in, and the leadership team invested in, because they knew the intent was it's going to add to the productivity of our salespeople, because Eli has a knack for being able to give salespeople what they need because he understands them. And so whether it's case studies or stories or tools or pitch decks, I just get them. And so Mark would coach me on what are some of the important things to drive the business. And then he'd say, go. Now you go and you go train everyone on it. And that was an amazing career run. And so, but it started breaking. The numbers started breaking. The ratio started breaking. And so, 120 people on the team, and, wasn't able to continue with the coaching. And Mark literally said, you need to train and certify all of our VPs and presidents, and then they need to go train and certify their teams. But it's too manual. Couldn't keep track of it. And so that was when I started thinking about, there's got to be a better way. And that was the beginnings of my company, SalesHood. And so SalesHood is a platform to improve the productivity of sales teams. And the way we do it was I've taken all the principles of how we did it at Salesforce with, messaging alignment and peer coaching and, collaborative deal reviews and like meetings in a box. Like the way that I did it, like the structured onboarding, boom, I built it into a platform. So we've cracked the code on enablement. And, at this point, we've got over 100 customers and about 40 to 50,000 salespeople. It's spectacular. We're having a big impact in the world. We're impacting billions and billions of revenue. TriNet, I'm a customer of TriNet, but they're also a customer of SalesHood.
Oh, so cool.
We enable the TriNet sales teams. And, and it's very simply, think about it. Salespeople log into SalesHood and, they're immediately getting access to the top performers. So they see their pitches, they see their stories, they see how they win. They can watch those videos, they can score them, and then they're asked to record their versions, record your pitch, record a story, record a win, record how do you going to handle this objection. And so what we're doing is we're systematically moving companies through an experience where they're practicing and then they're sharing. And just like Salesforce, where people would say, wow, it was, did I really want to go sit through training for a couple of days? No, but at the end of it, it was made me better. And so companies feel like the nature of SalesHood, it's a carrot versus a stick. And that's who we are as a company and as a culture. And that's what we do. And so, there's a system that tracks what you've watched. There's a system that tracks your completion, but that's behind the scenes. The whole experience is here's videos, here's content, here are things that you can be successful, do this, get feedback. That's all goodness. And that's all positive. And go ahead.
So it sounds like the underlying philosophy there is based, this is going to sound kind of obvious to you, I think, but it's based on the philosophy that we all become more successful to the degree to which that we're willing to share our knowledge and to share what works.
Yes.
As opposed to the old school mentality, which is, it's mine. It's a zero-sum game mentality that says, if I'm going to be the top, I want to be the top performer here. which means that I've got to hold my secrets back from you so you don't challenge me. This is exactly the opposite of that, it sounds like.
Yeah, I learned it during my days at Salesforce, where the gratitude that I got over the years, the thank yous was all about helping me be better, and thank you for connecting me with the wins and with knowledge. So this idea of knowledge and knowledge sharing is something that founded the company SalesHood. The essence of it was, a connected web of people sharing their experiences and stories. I literally had read through thousands of emails. I was sitting on a train from Vancouver to Seattle, March 2013. So I left Salesforce January 2013. I really wanted some time to think about what I was going to build and so forth. And I was sitting on a train and I was reading through all the thank yous. And I started word patterning it, right? Oh, you connected me, you shared the wins, you shared the stories. And I literally started having this map of this diagram, Zen diagram, like all these people connected, little circles. And I did that at Salesforce, right? They were saying, I had reps in LA saying you connected me with the stories in Tokyo, and I knew the wins in this industry. So you can see it. And so I landed on this word called selfhood because I needed a company name. And the word selfhood meant the fully developed person at one with nature, one with community. And I was like, exactly. I was like, what's the fully developed salesperson? What's the fully developed sales culture? What's the fully developed, sales profession? And it's SalesHood because that makes total sense. I was like, oh, someone's got to have that URL. And the URL was available.
Huh.
It's crazy. But yeah, it's this connectedness and it's this community accelerated learning was a big part of what my platform was born around. And the idea that I will be better by learning from my peers. And one more quick story, in those years when we were doing it at Salesforce, one year in August or July 2012, the way that we were certifying people was because we couldn't fly around the world, there were budgets, whatever it was. I said, well, here's what we can do. Why don't we have an honor system and why don't we have salespeople score each other? And we'll put a quota on the number of salespeople. So they have to fill out forms. I'm like, but I got to know. So they got to send all the forms to HQ. So I had admins that were filling them in. And then one day I saw a stack of these forms of the salespeople filling out scores and writing comments. I can make you sit in front of someone and listen to them, but I can't make you write a paragraph. And in that paragraph of text is, I really love Steve's opening. I learned a ton from his transition from pitch to story, and his close is something that I'm going to take with me. And to me, that was so enlightening because I realized that if I can just learn a little bit from everyone, I can be better. And that's what the hood is about. And that's the business problem that we're solving in the industry. And most VCs, and they didn't believe me when I told them that the way that corporations were moving and the way that knowledge was going to be shared was peer to peer. They thought, nah, you know what? People don't want to share. But that's not true. People do want to share.
Take me inside SalesHood. Tell me a little bit about your company and start with the easy stuff. How many employees do you got?
Yeah, we have 50 employees now, and 25 of them are in Vietnam, and the other 25 are here in North America. And the Vietnam folks, they do our development. So my co-founder is Vietnamese. His name is Arthur Do, and we founded the company in a true partnership. And the efficiency and the capital efficiency of the business just let us do that. So we didn't need to take on a lot of VC money because I was able to just bootstrap it. And so 50 people, and we do a lot of sharing. We do practice what we preach. There are a lot of things that we do on a regular basis. I have a weekly team company all hands call where, every Monday at noon, everybody, dials in, and then we use SalesHood for it, where you're sharing updates, you're sharing success stories, you're listing out your goals and your successes, and you're listing out challenges. I've got a way to kind of capture information in a fun way, and then you can see who submitted it. But it's a big part of our culture. Our values are all about giving and sharing and collaborating and helping each other. That's all positive, right? On the flip side, because we are very transparent and because giving feedback, and it's not a culture for everyone. Some people don't want the feedback.
Yeah. So give me an example of that.
Of people that don't want the feedback.
Yeah. How is that a challenge for some folks? How have you seen that play out?
Well, so let me think of a specific example. There's a few, but I know the specificity of examples are really helpful, especially when you're writing books. And so I'm trying to just think of a real experience. So when a salesperson joins my company, and if they're not the best and they don't represent sales excellence and their hygiene of sales isn't top notch, if they're not following up with customers, if they're not curious, asking questions, if they're not empathetic, then they can't represent my company. And a salesperson that, we try and do as good of a job as we can to kind of get that sorted in the beginning, but sometimes some of those characteristics, they fake it. And then you're a couple months in or a month in and you realize, wow, this person's just not coachable. And you know what? They kind of want to do things their way. There's no such, we can't have rogue people, doing things in a different way. Like we're an enablement platform, and our mission and vision is to help salespeople be the best they can be. People come to us because they believe we're going to help them have excellence in sales. And if you're going to be a salesperson and A, not be open to feedback, and B, think you can do things your own way, you're out, period. And we've had a couple people on the marketing side that have come in and on their exit interviews have said, really tough culture. It's tough getting the feedback on a regular basis. And it's okay, right? That's not a regrettable departure.
Yeah.
I think as a culture and as a business, I think I've learned as a leader to kind of maybe temper it back a little bit and enable my leaders to be more. So now what I do is rather than always feeling like it should be me giving everyone feedback, like I'll listen and observe. And so I'll pass feedback through. And if someone does come to me directly and ask me for the feedback, I'll give it to them. But at this point, I've got leaders and I'm giving them the feedback to give to their team so they can develop them and they can temper it in a way that, can be a little intimidating for a CEO to give you direct feedback all the time.
Mm-hmm. So you've got the 25 people that are in North America. Are they spread out, or do you have a certain number?
We have about 13 here, and the rest are distributed.
Okay. People that thrive in that culture, what kind of feedback are you getting from the people that are really successful there? What do they tell you about their experience and why they like it there, why they love it there? What do you hear?
So first, they feel like they are doing the best job of their lives. And so it's like so there's this woman, Deborah, in Toronto. We worked together at Salesforce. And then when I founded the company, maybe a year after I started, I said, Deb, come on, need your help. And I keep checking in with her. Like, so, she's been here almost 4 years. I'm like, so how's it going? She's like, it's the best job ever. It's my dream job. And so, startups are tough, right? And so she's up in Toronto. And, she gets to work with customers, help them be successful. She uses a technology that she truly loves. And she gets to, because there's so much work to do, she gets to pick and choose the things that she works on because there's no shortage. So that's something that I hear from people that have been here a while. The other thing I hear from people is, they like working with founders, my co-founder and I, that, are very, how do I say it? That we're responsible founders, and we're here to run a real business and create a real business, and we're not, it's scrappy, but in a good way. It's not like we didn't take $10 to $20 million and just there's this culture of just like hire people and do this and throw these crazy events. It's like we're very thoughtful about everything, and people appreciate the thoughtfulness of how we make decisions, the thoughtfulness of how we execute the company, the thoughtfulness of what we say and when we say it. Those are some of the reasons why people are here, I think. But the fact that our customers, love the technology, you go to my YouTube station, my YouTube channel, there's some videos there called Hood Love. Literally, it's our customers saying what they love about working with SalesHood. And you can't make this shit up. And, they love us. They love the people. They love that they believe we're here to make them successful. We celebrate them. We help make our customers' careers because they can scale. Just like I got recognized by Mark multiple times during my career, I take that and I inject that into my customer success. And so the fact that we're celebrating people all the time, because it's two sides to the coin. You're going to give people feedback, but we're also going to celebrate the wins and learn from the losses. That's really something that's magical here that people really appreciate. And we use our tech, right? So video is big. People are sharing their stories and people are giving each other feedback. There's a lot of peer-to-peer and that happens here in my company. What else can I tell you?
So you had your YouTube channel is Hood Love?
It's the SalesHood channel, but there are some videos there called Hood Love.
Okay. So obviously I'm very much attuned to that word and where I hear it and how I hear it used. So what I'm hearing you say is that your customers are not shy about saying how much they love SalesHood, the technology, the people, the responsiveness, all those things that you mentioned. Okay.
Absolutely.
Now, would your employees say the same thing? Would your employees use that word to describe their experience working there? Do they love it though?
So we did. So I hired an HR consultant who I work with at Salesforce. She came in, and we had an issue with someone. We had an employee who submitted a complaint about another employee, and I was like, "Whoa, where did that come from?" And I was wondering. I thought maybe it was systemic. I thought maybe there was something deeper going on here that I wasn't in tune with, and as opposed to just being like one individual person that needed to go. And she was, she was playing a game anyway. She left, but I hired this HR person to interview all the employees, and I can send you the deck, which has the verbatim feedback of
I would love that. That'd be great.
Yeah, and there's a lot of love in there, and there's a lot of love and gratitude, and so yeah, I'll send you the presentation. It's raw. I didn't create it, but you can see the language, and I'll trust you to use what you think's appropriate.
Yeah.
But I think the combination of the Hood videos. I'm actually on the YouTube channel now, and why our customers love working with SalesHood is one of them. And there's like 3 or 4 there. Why our customers love working with us. Thank you. So there's a couple of them here, and you'll just listen to what they have to say, and that plus the video, I think will be interesting.
Yeah.
We also do something fun here, which is when someone joins the company, we use our system, so they're recording a story in their first 5 minutes of being here. What does success look like for you? What's your vision for your job? I like people to just kind of put themselves out there. I also want them to get over the fact of recording, right? If they're working for a video company and we're all about video feedback and role playing, you got to do it. And then about a week after they start here, they go through like a path where they're watching videos and doing exercises and using the system. They record a passion video. What are you most passionate about? People love that stuff here. They love just getting to know people and really at a human level, really understanding what makes people tick. And folks' passions are spectacular, whether it's someone brewing beer or someone cooking, or for me it's music and DJing and hiking and running and it's just gardening. Turns out my VP sales has this awesome garden that he just he goes every night and looks at his fruit. They're his babies, and try and keep it human here a lot. Really, it's got to be human, and I think. As a leader, I'd like to believe that I've got, the radars and that I can feel when things, might not be in a good spot, and I can feel the energy, and that's my job as a leader to kind of, try and be as close to the pulse of what's going on. And but I'll react quickly, right? If I feel something's going the wrong way, I'll kind of like in the team meeting. All right, folks. So this happened last week. Didn't make anyone feel good. Let's talk about it. Go. I'll do that.
So the premise, which is really serves as the foundation for my work. So I've written a few books. I do a lot of speaking. I travel around the world, and I've been on my soapbox for a very long time. That, as the title of the book would suggest, love is just damn good business. And I speak to I'm not talking to California touchy feely hoo ha people. I'm talking to business people. And the case, if that's the right word for it, that I make is this. Your competitive advantage comes from when your customers love you, not when they're satisfied with you, but when they love you. The only way to create that experience in a meaningful and sustainable way over time is to create a culture that people love working in. And you can't create that kind of culture unless you have it yourself first as the leader. So you just gave us a really great example of that thread that goes all the way through. And it's not about love as a sentiment. It's about love as a practice and as a discipline. So what you brought to light there is, some people, it's hard fucking work, right? I mean, some people, there is such a thing as tough love, and giving feedback to somebody that needs it is not comfortable, and it's absolutely necessary. And it seems to me that you're giving a great example of how there is the misconception is this, okay? If you want to create a culture, a love-based culture, the place that people go to, first of all, is people walk around with big goofy grins on their faces and nobody ever argues, and you stop the action and have a big group hug in the hallway. And that's where people go.
Right.
And
Kumbaya.
What's that? Yeah, it's a
Kumbaya.
A kumbaya culture. And nothing could be further from the truth, because a culture where people love what they're trying to do, love the technology, and love their clients, the standards are much higher than they are in other places, because people don't tolerate substandard performance because they don't want anybody fucking up a good thing. And our ability, our willingness and ability to hold ourselves and one another accountable to the standards that we set is what keeps us sharp and competitive. So it sounds like SalesHood is a great example of, the gritty, scrappy side of the equation. And it's just, some people are just it's not their thing. They don't want to hear that.
Some people don't want to hear it, and some cultures don't. Some company. When I speak to CEOs, when I spoke to Burton about his business, I asked CEOs the question. So tell me about your culture. I asked them, tell me about what's it like to give feedback. How open is your business to feedback and to coaching? And give me some examples where either it's working well, not working well. And if the CEO or the VP sales doesn't subscribe to the notion that peer-to-peer feedback is something that would be positive for the business, then we walk. We just say, then we're not a good fit for you because you're not going to be happy in SalesHood. Yeah. Because some people like the old way. I want people to do a test. I'm going to score them, and we're going to have the performance reviews. I'll tell you, I appreciate all your kind words and you're recognizing what we're doing. It's hard work, as you say, to be able to continue it, but it's who we are, and you can't fake it. You can't fake it, because then you come across as unauthentic. And you know what? I can give someone tough feedback, but they know when they look in my eyes that I'm coming from a good place. Just like at Salesforce, right. People knew I was helping them. Even though I make them sit through 3 days of training, they knew that it was for their good. People know that when they hit the record button on their phone and they're recording that video for SalesHood, yeah, it's a pain in the fucking ass. But I'm going to record it. And after I record it, I know that I'm going to get feedback from a bunch of people, and I know I'm going to be better. And that's goodness.
Yeah.
And customers feel the same way. I'll share with you one more thing. You said the word discipline, and the word discipline is important to me. I think I learned it from my dad. My dad gave me a lot of tough love over the years, and tough as a kid when you're always getting feedback, and it's not all positive. And he's German. He's not German. He's Egyptian Jew who his mom was tough on him. So it's there. So, but there's something when it comes to discipline. I'm very disciplined about measuring the success of the business. And how do you measure love? How do you measure if your customers love you? And it's super simple. Net Promoter Score is something that we subscribe to, and I believe in it so much. I look at Net Promoter Score multiple times a day versus I don't look at Salesforce to check my pipeline multiple times a day. And when I get a 0 score from someone, because it happens, people give you zeros. And guess what? If someone gives you a 0 and they write something down, your system sucks shit. Whatever they say, they get an email from me and a handwritten thank you note. Thank you for taking the time to tell us we can be better. We'd love a chance to learn from you. And people are like floored.
Yeah.
Floored. Like, holy cow, you just did what? Like, who does that? Do people even read this stuff? And you know what? They cared enough to say something negative about the business in a constructive fashion. And maybe they're having a bad day. And a lot of the times folks will say, you know what? I was hard on you. Sorry. But you can improve this button. I'm like, great. Thanks for the feedback. But then they become a friend and a customer. But I write handwritten thank you notes to anybody that gives me a 0. I get about 200 or 300 NPS feedbacks a month. And so it's manageable right now. But I'm the CEO, right? Think about it, writing handwritten thank you notes to people that I'm not saying that I don't give the 10s a handwritten thank you note. Yeah. I give the 0s.
Yeah. That's great. Aside from the fact that it's a personal touch, it's very symbolic, right? I mean, getting that tangible handwritten note, what it represents, it was more than symbolic, but it's evidence that what you did is for X number of minutes, you completely focused on that person, that nothing else existed in those few minutes that it took for you to write that note.
Yeah.
And that's not the conscious part that people recognize. They recognize the words and the care that goes into it, but it represents full, complete 100% attention to you in those minutes, because that is what happened. That's actually what happened.
You just taught me something. Thank you for explaining it to me that way.
Yeah, it's really powerful, man.
One more thing. I speak quite a bit as well. I get the chance to speak in front of sales teams and keynotes and kickoffs. And, I always tell people, sometimes they'll buy even with my book. Sometimes they won't, right? And so I tell people, I always stress the importance of, I ask people in the room, how many of you closed a deal this month, this year, whatever, right? Everybody raises their hand. How many of you said thank you to your customers? Half the people go down. How many of you who got a signed order, PO, wrote a handwritten thank you note to your customers? And like maybe 2 people. I'm like, guys, are you kidding me? Someone just gave you money and you're not doing everything you can. Thank you very much for your business. If you know anyone that like whatever, like they will think of you forever. I'm like, here's what I'm going to do. If anybody writes a handwritten thank you note to me right now saying thank you for speaking, I'll send you a handwritten book FedEx to your home.
That's a great idea.
That's what I do, right? And I'll get maybe 5 or 10, but I'll do that gladly, man.
Yeah.
Sorry, I cut you off.
Another question that you may want to layer in there, given what you just said to me, is, and it may not be for the same call to action at the end of it, but how many of you have written a handwritten thank you note to somebody that told you you suck?
It's my NPS story.
Yeah, exactly. That's yeah. You'll get no hands.
Right.
For that one. That's fantastic. So now what's the future look like for you guys?
As a company, we're at the point now where we've cracked the code with the technology. We have enough customer success. I've got all the metrics, the revenue growth metrics, good NPS. We've got low churn. So on paper, when you look at the metrics, we're just about that point where we're ready to kind of grow and hyper growth. So the question is, what's our strategy going to be? Do we do some growth funding? Do we keep staying scrappy the way we are? Do we look for a strategic partner? Like a TriNet. Does this get bundled in? Like, there's so many scenarios, and we've got options. But SalesHood as a company, how do we now spread the awareness of the impact we're having on people's lives at a much faster pace than that's my next 1 to 2, 3 years. And the way that I'm doing it is, number one, working with universities. So I've now partnered with, University of Houston, Johns Hopkins, UTD, University of Dallas, and Northern Illinois University. So basically we're giving SalesHood for free to those universities and those sales programs, giving them the videos, the content, letting them use it because I believe so much in it. So that's one way to kind of spread the word and raise awareness and increase our scale. The other one is we gotta start hiring. I got to grow from 7, 8 salespeople to 30, 40 salespeople over the next 2 years, because spreading the message and the importance of enablement is something that is still new and requires a conversation. You can't just go online, swipe a credit card, and go, I'm ready for an enablement platform. The world ain't there yet. This is still a human conversation, and that requires human outreach. And you know what? I'm going to get on the speaking circuit a lot more than I have been. So, I'm basically shifting my mindset from building product, which is what I've been doing. I've been a product-centric CEO for the last 5 years, fine-tuning it, massaging it, getting the product just right, to now being a go-to-market CEO.
Well, I hope you enjoyed that conversation with Elay. What an inspiring guy. I'm just really struck by this very simple yet gutsy idea to take tough feedback from our customers and reply to them and give them a call and make a new friend for somebody who just took the time to throw shade on you. I just think that's a wonderful, audacious, and a really powerful idea. One of many that I hope you took away from this conversation. Until next time, this is Steve Farber, reminding you to do what you love in the service of people who love what you do.
Thank you for listening to another episode of Love is Just Damn Good Business with Steve Farber. Join us again next time, because when customer and employee satisfaction just isn't enough anymore, we are here to back you up with specific ideas to operationalize love to make an enormous difference in your business, personal life, and the world around you. Visit our website at stevefarber.com to leave a review. And don't forget to share the love with your colleagues and friends, because after all, it's just damn good business.